high alertness, loss of fatigue, emotions can be much better. The circadian rhythm can be also more realistic as it is required for the best of productivity. So even if you might be partying in the night, but you can still have improvement in your circadian rhythm with right kind of lighting. So if you look at in this well-being, when we are trying to create this well-being, there are a couple of areas which people are affected with: air, water, nourishment, fitness, comfort, and mind. But light is also very important. So when we are doing lighting, we are making sure that how it is related to the well-being of people by right daylight harvesting, circadian rhythm management, glare, color, as well as right to light. So this is very, very important when it comes to the technicals of the light. Many of you have been coming across the LEED standards. Now, over the last couple of years, there is WELL standard, which is also very, very important. The going forward, I've been just back from overseas. I see that in other countries, there are a lot of WELL certification, which are getting very popular in products as well as solutions. So that would be the new era, where not only just enough amount of light, but all the other parameters of the light, be it the distribution, be it the color characteristics, be it the spectrum, the RA, RF, RG values, all these values will become very important, because it's not about just enough quantity of light, it's about right quality of light. So to make the new lighting system more contemporary, there are not only changes happening on the LED level, but also there are multiple changes which we are doing in the form factors, so that they become very, very much attractive, as well as they go and complement the interiors. So new designs are looking much more ergonomic, much more as per the interiors, and you have multiple choices. So I am happy to say that that Havels is able to now create a lot of solutions. Probably you might not know, but we welcome you to have a look at all these possibilities, which will add to your creativity, so that you can create interesting interiors. So all these products come with really modern and very contemporary technology, as well as the form factors. You can create kind of a sky effect. Thank you. So we end with AV. Thank you so much.
The stress of competition is forcing company employees to spend more time at the office, and many a times late in the night. This somewhere desyncs people with local time and distorts natural system, which results in long-term health and behavioral issues, resulting in decreased efficiency. There are two ways to increase your output: either put in more hours or work smarter, and Havels knows how to work smart indeed. Always working proactively to make a difference to its customers' lives by introducing new technologies. Havels is now innovating human-centric lighting by taking advantage of LED's real-time color and light level changing capability. With Bluetooth CSR mesh technology, and is offering light solution as per the natural need to track circadian health. It's a scientific fact that light controls many biological responses, like our internal body clock and the cycle of variation in the color and intensity of sun throughout the day. From amber and light to cooler and brighter, and then warmer. This affects our alertness in a direct way. The photoreceptors in eyes, rods and cones sense the bright and low light levels, signaling the brain to trigger the release of serotonin in day that boosts attention, and melatonin in night that promotes effective sleep. This creates circadian rhythm and supplements our physical and mental health. Havells has created a lighting system that follows the cycle of natural light as experienced by humans and is called circadian lighting, that enables people to perform at optimum levels while contributing towards mind and body wellness. The system works by integrating light fixtures with daylight and are designed to mimic the natural patterns of sun with the help of tunable technology and automatic adjustment of intensity. In harmony with circadian rhythm, light color with blue wavelength in daytime are beneficial as they improve alertness and increases productivity and reduce fatigue and accidents at work at the same time. At night, the lighting system reduces the brightness and color is changed to warm, signaling the body to relax. This new and innovative lighting system by Havells benefits any office space through increased productivity, improved health, improved alertness, reduced hyperactivity, and improved mood and behavior to generate more output from the employees. With this new innovative Havells lighting system's tunable white technology, discover a new way to increase efficiency, improve profits, and do business the smart way. Havells, making a difference.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Patho, for the insight into the brand. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a look at the Duro AV. Brilliant. Moving on, I would like us all to take a moment and acknowledge our curator for the evening, a man who needs no introduction. Yes, and to introduce him, I would like to call upon on stage the heart of our organization, ITP Media India, the ever dynamic, ever energetic Mr. Vibhor. Can you please have a round of applause and welcome him on stage?
Let's save it. The man himself, very dear friend, very kindly agreed. Can't thank him enough. Architect Kamal Periwal started his journey as an architect during the mid-90s when he set up Maheshwari and Associates. His humble beginnings as an architect started from Mumbai, then called Bombay, and in a couple of years made his way to Kolkata. In the 25 years of esteemed career, Architect Periwal has been able to deliver over 20 million square feet built-up area spread across India. I think you should give this one for this gentleman. I think that's a very tall order. His projects have a strong presence in Eastern India, Kolkata, Siliguri, and Guwahati, along with projects in Jaipur, Mumbai, and Goa. Architect Periwal is known for his architectural designs, which bring about a unique combination of efficiency and aesthetics. Some of his projects which do that are Tata Housing Eden Court, 23rd Circus Avenue, Magnolia City, Soham chain of malls, the Arc Waterfront and Badufa Cultural Complex. These projects have been widely appreciated and are quite successful. Architect Kamal Periwal has been part of the architecture fraternity for nearly 25 years. He's been recognized by the fraternity for his design excellence and unfathomable passion. He started his knowledge in seminars like Steel Summit and also keen part of the jury in many occasions. Currently, he's also the chairman of Kolkata chapter IIIT, Indian Institute of Interior Designers, which aims to stimulate and captivate budding minds in the interior designing field in Kolkata. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I invite architect Kamal Periwal.
And before that, ladies and gentlemen, I would also request Mr. Biresh Malhan, Chief of Sales, eCapitalite, to join us here on stage to do the honors. Welcome, sir. Very warm welcome, sir. Can we please have a round of applause, everyone?
Good evening, friends. So today's topic is aesthetics versus design economics. This topic is created our way of working, and they have created the design debate. They've created the debate platform for this. So in our profession, what we start working is like we design the project, and we take reference of the cost from the past project, and aesthetics for the futuristic design. So in the process, you see there's a flaw, and the cost is always from the past reference, and design is always looking forward. So there is a point we always will not be able to match the economics of the aesthetics. So this is the debate will go on. So we have to correct ourselves. So always try to take out the price, or try to take the price from the futuristic point of view. That may be 10, 15%, 20% more, and then only we can reach to the right conclusion and right. I can say like we can create the right ambience for our working. That is what I can say.
Thank you so very much, sir. And now let's take a look at what the brand eCapitalite is all about. Please put your hands together and let's welcome Gaurav Jain, Regional Sales Manager, East eCapitalite Division, Pidilite Industries Limited. Can we have a round of applause for him and welcome him on stage? A very warm welcome to you, sir. Your mic up? Are you going to take this? Yeah, it's on.
Can we have PPT also?
Yes, absolutely.
Where is the Bluetooth?
It's on. Yeah.
So hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Gaurav, and I'm heading East region here for ICA Pidilite. So here I'm feeling very, very proud and thankful for getting this opportunity to be in front of the great fraternity of architects and interior designers in front of me. And thanks for this honor, the ITP team. But the first of all, I would like to say about the brand ICA. So nowadays, thanks to so many influencers and people like you, that ICA is now no need to introduce to most of our customers, most of our clients. ICA Pidilite is the division of the company Pidilite. You must be knowing the name Pidilite. Pidilite is very famously known for the products like Fevicol, Fevikwik, Emsil, Steel Grip. So here in the luxury segment, wherever the products like any interior space where the luxury products need to be come up, there the brand ICA establishes. So as I said that ICA is a joint venture with Pidilite. In 2016, it came into effect, and ICA is primarily a Italian brand. So we are the global leader in wood finishes, and we have our subsidiaries in Germany, Spain, Poland, China, and more than 50 countries, you can say. And in India, we have a very strong presence with 2000 plus dealers and retailers. So when the ICA word comes, sorry for getting back. So the main benefits of having ICA Pidilite is that our R&D is backed with a very high level of technology and dedicated client representative we have. And we also have that contractor training and skill development. Because in this segment, in this product, the contractor plays a very pivotal role. And most of the time we keep hearing from the AIDs that do we have a specific platform to train their contractors? So yes, we can say that we have that platform and on-site sampling for sales and technical support. Because here in ICA, the brand is there, but people pay for finish. So it's very imminent and important that customer need to see that. So whatever the trials and samples are required over site, we are ready to help it out always. So what it comes in mind when ICA goes to a customer? Generally, as you people are very much, you know about this, that when the word Italy comes in mind, the Italian brands comes in mind, it always comes with the niche, a kind of luxury, be it Chandler, be it carpet, be it whatever things we can say, painting, finishes, wood finishes. Similarly, when ICA comes in mind, the super luxury things comes in mind. And the Italian provenance, as I said, it is always there. And the niche segment and good taste, because here in ICA, the tagline is good taste shows. Because here we are mainly targeting those customers, those consumers who are ready to spend for the luxury, and they have the taste, something which is very peculiar, not very common. Because nowadays wood finish market is very, very cluttered. So many brands, so many players, so many finishers are already operating there in the market. So only those people who have the great taste, who can go and opt for the products which they are looking as an aspiration, not only for them, for the people who are visiting their house, for the people who are showing them off. ICA should be representing like that way. So this is the very first audio visuals that we have created as a consumer campaign for our customers. Before that, we were available in so many digital medium and print medium for architects and contractors, but the first time we have come in the consumer. So I'd like to play this AV, then we will discuss about it. So I hope you liked the audio video. The purpose and the target audience for this consumer is obviously, as you can see, people are having a very lavishing house. So even a mother who is coming from all the way to Italy to see their daughter and his son-in-law, and she's really impressed the way the house was decorated and it was looking like. So we are trying to aspire the people to go for the very luxury range of finishes which we have to offer. And this audio visual is being populated over all the social mediums, and it's being sent to the people who are looking for the very premium range of products. It can be the people who are looking the premium chandlers, the premium carpets, or maybe the other premium home decor brands. So they are able to see on the different platforms like Facebook and Instagram. So now I'm moving to the core products that we have. The very first one is Fineza, that we all know as a PU finish. So I believe that for people like you, the PU is not a new word that you have been listening. So it's the normal finishes which we give over the veneer and the MDF panel for the clear and color finishes. So when we want to give the top finish to our home over these sort of furniture and surfaces, so we have a stylish range available in wide sheen. We also have acrylic, because nowadays the very big query comes to us in the way like how it should not get yellow. It should not get yellowish over the time. So we have that solution also in the form of acrylic. Then clear also. Clear means that be it in the form of gloss, be it in the form of matte over MDF or veneer, we can go for that. 2300 shades. So I can proudly say that in the industry, we are the only company who can offer 2300 shades for MDF. And obviously the metallic is nowadays a new vogue. So we have a lot of range available there in the metallic. So just behind you, we have standard over there, kiosk where you can go, and after the meet, you can see what kind of finishes that we have to offer over here. And I believe that would must like that. So another one is that polyester. So I can see in Kolkata the love for polyester, or which is popularly known in the local language polycoat also. It's very much there. So gloss has a certain taste here in the East, and people who wants to have gloss in their house, they preferably go for the polycoats, or we can say that in polyester. We say it as a Lucido. So it's a perfect product to add glamour to the house, and the aesthetic appeal designed for high gloss. Obviously, anti-scratch is there. So even over the time, if the scratches are appearing, maybe because of your nail or anything by wear and tear, it can be rebuffed again. And vertical applications now also available, and more than 800 colors now available in our Lucido finish, which you can say polyester. So the another one is special effects, Creativa. So I can see, especially in the designer segment, that when we people visit you, you people keep asking for something new, like PU ho gaya, and polyester bhi bahut saal se hum kar rahe hain. So something which is new. So many special effects are there, starting from pearl effect, marble effect, and so many metallic finishes. Then the you can say the old kind of utensils effect are also very much popular right now, which we known as liquid foil effect. So all the things are available over there in our kiosk. So special effects, we call them as Creativa. So metal, pearl, rock, marble, prismatic, and many to say are available with us. So one question which can arise over here is that these effects are there, but who will apply them? How will be able to get that? So as I was saying in the early slides, that we have a technical team ready here in Kolkata also, and we can provide training on site also. So that will not be any issue. And again, the new trend which is coming very prominently are the glass paints. So the tinted glass is not a very new thing, but now using the stickers and the other tints are very normal thing. The things has gone upward towards the glass paints. So just painting glass from one side and use it as a facade, or maybe using it as a partition or on the common window. These are the things, and we are very much available with all the range in PU with the protective coatings in glass, which is clear, pigmented, metallic, and special effects. Everything which we are doing over wood, be it veneer or MDF, everything we can apply over glass also. And this one is stains. So people keep loving stains. They keep playing with these stains over the veneer, like they keep changing the color of the veneers to keep changing the tone of the veneers. It's a very popular thing right now. So we have solvent base, water base, tint stains available for interior and exterior, and 17 plus primary shades we have available here, and we call it as tinte. And the last one is water base aquabella, which we say. So water base is now the theme product, which is very upcoming and it's required sustainability. Because nowadays we know that the fumes, the VOC products are so much available in the market, and people who are going for the luxury segment, they are very cautious about it. And especially so many times the renovation projects keep coming where customer deliberately ask that they need something in their house which is not emitting any sort of fumes, and it should be good for health of their children, the older people in their house, and for their own health sake also. So Aquabella is the answer for that. So it's very, very good for eco-sensitive people and a futuristic design. So as I said, low VOC and odor, open pore application is very much applicable, wide sheen range, and available for all surfaces, be it interior or exterior. So as I said, sustainability is the key word for which ICA now lives in. And as I have moved towards so many interior designers and architects throughout the country, I have always keep listening from them that what are the sustainable options available with ICA. So we use this word as a now as we live for. So pioneer in so many things already going on with ICA nowadays with sustainability. So we are pioneer in water-based finishes for over 50 years. In Europe, we were awarded Life Mark by Green Guard ECB validation. Industry first oil-free bio-based coatings, partner for sustainable development goals for 2030 in many countries. And especially it is run by UNO, and sustainability paints the world at Salon in 2021. So now again, I'm coming back to our water-based solution, which we popularly call as Aquabella. So here, if we see what are the main benefits of water-based products, low odor, green certified, low VOC. I would like to say VOC is again associated with product which are emitting lesser number of volatile compound, which helps in reducing the smell and the fumes, and stain and scratch resistant, anti-alloying property, no harmful chemicals, higher coverage, and higher elasticity. So anything which is available there in the market, most of them which are in solvent, if we go for the water-based product, these benefits that we are going to surely get. So here are some of the application and the pics which you can see. These are done by our Aquabella, which is water-based products. So even the gloss which you can see over there on the table, it is widely somewhere said in the mind that if it is water-based, then the gloss and the higher sheen level will not be possible. So I am very much sure that when you will be there on our kiosk, you will not be able to identify that it is water-based or solvent-based if you will go for even high gloss. So everything, be it at any sheen level, it is possible now. So this is for the exterior. As you can see, all the wooden surfaces, be it floor or be it over the pillars, all are the wooden surfaces. And our PU, especially this water-based, can easily be applicable with giving higher life and durability to the product. And obviously the aesthetics and finish will look like never seen before. The parquet is another area. The staircases, which is prone to get wear and tear over the time. So here also, not only sustainability and the life, but overall aesthetic and beauty of the parquet area will also enhance. And there is another product which we have given, that is S-Matte Ultra Matte Finish. It is anti-scratch, anti-fingerprint, self-healing, 100% anti-glare, and top coat. Self-healing, like nowadays, S-Matte has a quality that if the small scratches are there, just a buff of a warm cloth can do a self-healing to the top surface. So the innovative range of the Aquabella products that we have seen. So the another feather that we have added just at the time of the COVID, this was the Aseptica antibacterial. Nowadays, it is seen that especially in the kid area, kid rooms and the older people room, and sometime in the hospitals also, schools also, they are looking for the finishes which are safe for their kids and the older people. So, and aseptica antibacterial are the finishes which are good for people with home with children or elderly, hospital and lab, restaurant, hotel, and high footfall places. So this is another solution with sustainability keeping in the mind. And as you can see, anyone can identify this place? Yes, I just want to hear any one of you. Thank you. So this is our new built parliament, the central vista, which you also know. So I would like to say very proudly that we have been the prime application product for all their wood finishes. And we have seen the pictures, videos, everywhere there is wooden work. So on all the wood finishes which you are seeing over there in parliament, all of them are coated by ICA finishes and the Aquabella, this water base. So this is a proud moment for us that we have been able to be part of such a big thing across the world, which everyone has seen. So we are now reaching to the very next level, which you can say the advanced level. We keep saying water-based product and the sustainable product, but we all know that still some sort of chemical and hazardous products are there in the resins. So we have moved towards the bio-resin, which are renewable, highly sustainable, made from the organic and biomass waste. And bio-resin is totally refined and oil-free, which has almost negligible CO2 emissions, very low VOC, low odor, and this product is very, very popular nowadays in Italy. We have started supplying this in India also, which you can use at any of your site or any of your project where you really want to go to a very advanced level. So we can say that we are ready for the future also as an advancement, because in the coming days, we all know, as the government rules regarding the emissions are getting very stringent, these products are the product for the future, and we are ready for that. Is there any sound listening to that?
Natural touch, velvet like soft touch, and gloss finishes for times human. No wonder it's the preferred choice of Italy's top designers. Should it be yours? Italian wood finishes. Good taste, show.
So this is all about the initial information about ICA brand. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so very much. Moving on with, we have one more AV. Can we please play the AV right now?
Italy, the land of fashion and design, glamour and beauty. Italian designers have forever been the preferred choice of the global glitterati. But who do these top designers prefer? Presenting ICA of Italy. ICA is true Italian glamour, presented through a world of luxury wood finishes. Their innovations and in-depth research set them apart as world leaders. ICA now brings Italian glamour to Indian homes. Question is, does your taste meet the choice of Italy's finest? ICA, Italian wood finishes, good taste shows.
That was ICA, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's time. Now we move on to the most awaited part of the evening, our panel discussions. Kicking off our panel, we have the dynamic next-gen architects, the ones who will dictate the architecture of tomorrow. Getting up on stage and to introduce them, I would like to invite none other than our moderator for the next-gen, our panel on stage. Please put your hands together and let's welcome architect Shubhrajit Mitra, co-founder and principal architect, Square. A very warm welcome to you, Shubhaji. Yes, we will. Can we please have the chairs? Ladies and gentlemen, can we please have a round of applause one more time for Shubhaji?
Very good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone. I am Shubhrajit, the moderator of this session. And I would like to thank Architect and Interiors India for giving me this opportunity to play this role of a moderator. Honestly, I was a little surprised when I was asked to moderate the next gen panel. I didn't think that I'm that young because immediately the two names that came to my mind, firstly was Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who's thinking of retirement any day soon after his lustrous career. And the other one is much down to earth, is my friend Abhishek Datta, who's my batchmate and has been dragged into the senior panel. So I guess I just look much more younger than you, Abhishek. I'm sorry about that. But having said that, I think it's a really, really delight to be a part of this young group. I mean, apart from the beautiful work that they do, there is an immense amount of clarity with which they speak about the profession. They are very sure of what they're trying to do. And so I will not waste much more time, and let me have the honor of calling everybody on stage. First, Khushbu Shah, co-founder, The Mark Decor. Can we have a round of applause for her, please? Next, we have Raj Periwal, Associate Architect, Maheshwari and Associates. I know him as Kamal Das San, by the way, so, you know. But he is today as Raj Periwal and not Kamal Das San. So we have Shashank Shahabadi, Principal Architect, East Side Office. Viresh Malhan, Chief of Sales, E-Carpet Light. And last but not the least, Yashvardhan Agarwal, founder, Blue Masons. Before we actually move on to that, I just want to give you a brief idea of what they do. Like, Raj is more into architecture and urban design. His acumen is more towards that. Khushbu is more into interiors. Shashank forays into architecture as well as interiors. Viresh is a very busy man. He always stays in flights. But the moment you ask him, he's always on flight. So, but obviously he's the head of the sales, so he must be a very busy man, I'm sure. And then we have Yash, who's into manufacturing as well as designer. So the reason why I told you a line about each of them is that although we have a overall theme for this, each of them will have a slightly different point of view regarding the issues that we are talking about. Now, the issue today is about aesthetics versus economics, right? Now, the moment we talk about aesthetics, we think of something very subjective, very creative, and very personal. And the moment we talk about economics, we think about crunching numbers and something which is very stoic, something which requires a lot of, statistics, analysis, and probably it is much more comprehensible than the intangible aesthetics. We want to explore that, is it really the case? Is it really that black and white discrimination that we have about aesthetics and economics, or in design fields, they seem sort of blend together. Sometimes they work together, sometimes they are on opposite sides, and sometimes they collaborate. So this is what we are trying to do here. Now, we'll be having a foray of different questions. We'll be starting with personal stories. We'll be going on to talk about your utopian ideas. And we'll also go for large-scale urban design projects. We'll discuss about them if we have time. At the same time, I would request you all to participate, because it is really boring to hear a debate or a panel discussion if you're not participating. It's like, staying in your drawing room and watching a TV. So I don't want you to watch TV. I want you to participate. And I'm sure that we are going to have a very nice and very vigorating session. So without much wasting time, I'll sit and we'll start the session right now. Hello. Am I audible, right? Yeah. Okay. So before we start debating on a topic like aesthetics and economics, we need to set up the premise. We need to understand what we understand by aesthetics and economics. Should I speak or should I stop? I don't know. You want to give me a mic? Yeah, I think. No, I'm not. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. So before we start debating, we need to understand what the subject we're talking about. So we would like to define the premises in which we are going to decide on this. So what is aesthetics? What do we understand by aesthetics? I would like to ask Khushbu, what exactly do you mean by aesthetics?
Aesthetic, can you hear me?
So aesthetic is a very subjective term. I may be loving an orange and you may be hating it. But just to define it, it is a space which is visually and sensory very appealing to us. There's a balance and harmony in all the elements that we have put. Be it the lights, the furniture, the accessory, all need to blend in together. And once a person comes in, he should not only see good things, but also feel good about it.
All right. So I will come to Viresh.
Hi.
When we talk about, you're into a product, which is basically a finishing product, right? So I want to ask, or rather want to understand that what is your notion about aesthetics?
Thank you, Shubhrajit, for that question. I will just add on to what Khushbu was saying here. I think since you explained that I'm from the product background, everything you guys do, you add value to the space, right? If you're adding value to the space, it becomes good. It appeals to your visual, it appeals to your sensory. So from the product point of view is what we do. We create the finishing for your vision. So if your vision is something which is going to be making the client happy, and everyone's choice is different, right? You define aesthetics, you may like something, I may like something. But anything which adds value to my appeal, to my feeling, and give me a wow or give me a happiness when I look at it, feel it, or live with it, is aesthetics to me. Another brand or other product, this is what we do. We try to give solution to your vision.
Right. So what I need to understand is that, do you think, like Khushbu, I'll come back to Khushbu once more, like aesthetics is something of a afterthought, like what we do, having sorted out all the other things and then we sort of put it like a, varnish over it, or is it like something that is in the part of the process itself?
I think I disagree. It's a part of the process and it has to be very well planned. Like it's an interior joke, but I think all of them will relate to is that it just looks nice, but the amount of planning and the homework that we have to do is for that correct everything to blend in, you need a lot of plan. It just cannot appear.
Okay, great. So we come back to Yash. You are into manufacturing, you're into design. So you get the brunt of both, like, aesthetics and economics people. So if I ask you to define economics in terms of, your product or the way you work, what will that be?
So, so in terms of not just my product or rather the industry, by definition, economics means the capital that's allocated to achieve the aesthetics, right? But I personally would like to explain that let's look at it from a very economics perspective. Like demand can be of multiple natures, right? It can be something that's very impromptu, impulsive, or it can be something that's very planned. You can imagine someone standing at the queue of a convenience store and making an impulsive decision to buy probably a Red Bull or something that's made to be an impulsive purchase, right? But that does not happen in the case of our industry. It's a very planned purchase. And the reason is that it all boils down to the proportion of income spent. And there was a survey that I was going through that mentions that on an average Indian, or for example, across the globe, if you take an average man, would build one home in his lifetime, his or her lifetime. That really puts things into perspective that the economics of it becomes a lot more critical vis-a-vis the aesthetics or the design, because you really need to plan for this. This does not come up like an impulsive purchase that can happen overnight. Hence, by definition, it's the capital allocation, but then the process that goes towards this is quite an emotional journey for a lot of people.
So why is there a conflict, Shashank? Why is there a conflict between aesthetics and economics?
I was actually wondering the same. Because it's so subjective. I mean, but like coming to the main crux of it, I think one is the prioritization of the objective. What is the objective that we are trying to get to? Then there are budget constraints, then there are market trends. There is long-term sustainability, adhering to what Yash was saying, because whatever we build is actually for some time. It's not that consumer base that like you buy it and then like, you discard it in a matter of, let's say, maybe a couple of months. And then the most important aspect, which I actually think is the subjectivity of aesthetics, which cannot be defined. I think aesthetics is so subjective that every person, every individual has its own desire or his own taste to a particular product, that whatever emotions that he gets out of it. And I think we often confuse aesthetics with luxury, but I believe luxury is actually felt and aesthetics is what you see. So I think this debate is, I think, going to be fun. I think it's going to be challenging. And I think something new perspective will come out of it. Let's see.
Great. So Raj, my question to you would be, is it possible for a building or a space to be economically successful at the same time totally lacking in aesthetic appeal?
So building being economically successful but not aesthetically sound, I would like to take a very strong point of this, and maybe someone can argue me on that. I don't think it's possible to be economically successful. Yes, I think it's possible to become economically viable, but not successful. Some of the few things could be what if the building is aesthetic, people feel nice in it, the look and feel is good, it automatically drives the economic value. So that is a major plus thing that is missing. Secondly, there are a lot of projects that are being designed for economic efficiency, and that is totally understandable because of criteria of budget constraints or shortage of infrastructure to meet public demand. But there are parcels of land where aesthetic cannot be a byproduct or it cannot be an afterthought. It needs to be part of the conversation from day one. And as we move forward, we are already starting to face, there is shortage of land. So their projects with aesthetic value, with aesthetic decisions will definitely add economic value to the project. And oftentimes, buildings which are more economically driven tend to think inwards about just the users. So there is a base economic value set to it. But if the building just thinks about the user inwards and does not think about how the building will be perceived maybe years later by the people of the city, by people who view it, and its only function is to just serve the users and the residents, over a long time, then we can see there will not be economic appreciation. Whereas if the building has aesthetic quality and it engages the public, so we'll definitely see over time that the building value will rise, and economically in the city or hopefully beyond that. So
If you want to add something?
I just want to add to what you're saying. So if it is not aesthetic, it's construction, it's not architecture. True, if you're doing a building. So it's something, anything which can be economically viable also can be functional, right? That functional can be also aesthetic. The purpose it is solving, the purpose it is giving. But if it is just something which is not, like our friends from Habits were talking about people returning to work, lighting plays an important factor. Why? Because wherever you are, you need to feel good about it. There has to be an energy about it. And if it is just not looking or feeling good for you, how does you define it? And like he defined economics versus aesthetic, it is a planned thing. So if you're making a building which is economically viable, I'm sure there's a plan on this is what the aesthetic you wanted out of that building. That aesthetic can be explained and debated, but that will also have its own aesthetics.
Okay. So I would like to ask Shashank that are there any particular architectural styles or movements which you think are more attuned of achieving the balance between like aesthetics and economics?
Before I take that question, I'll just give you a little brief, I think, how this whole concept of aesthetics and economics came into existence. I think me personally, I was actually quite moved by the Art Deco movement. And I think the buildings were fabulous. I think people back then were not really looking into the economic factor of the building. It was just purely about aesthetics, and it's just about being flamboyant and having that kind of a structure. I think post that, I think during the World Wars, it gave birth to the modernism, where the likes of Mies van der Rohe, Philip Johnson came into existence. And I think it was just simple, clean cut boxes where it was more for the functional aspect of the building. And I think till date, I think the word modernism is quite overused or abused in a way. Whenever we think of a new design challenge or anything, we just think, okay, let's design something modern. But I think that also paved way to postmodernism and then the Bauhaus movement, which I think was a great amalgamation of, let's say, art and the industry design. But I think going forward, I think the sustainable designs and maybe the Scandinavian minimalism came into existence, and then about the Japanese theory of wabi-sabi as well. So I think they amalgamate the great sense of economic viability, whereas aesthetic point of view as well. Being economical doesn't really mean you compromise on the material quality. I think that's just the first thing which comes to our mind. Maybe think about like the great Scandinavian design. It's just minimal, it's just clean, but the products are used which can last you a lifetime. I think that's what it's about. I think in India, we always face this challenge. Okay, let's compromise on the quality because we somehow think the manpower is cheaper. Maybe in a couple of years, we can strip the material apart, or maybe we can tear it down and rebuild it again. But we often fail like the energy which actually goes into making anything for that matter.
You want to add something?
Popularly, if you speak to a layman and you who is very budget constrained, and you ask what kind of a house do you want, they will come and tell you we want a minimalistic house, because they think that's the way they can take care of the budget and make sure the house looks very nice, because that's what internet teaches them, that a minimalistic house is very less and it speaks more. So the usual opinion is that minimalism is the way that you can take your economics in control.
So I have a very interesting take on this subject of minimalism versus
Economics.
no, not economics, but then just the fact that Shashank debates that he's a fan of Art Deco and the world that has gone by. But let's try and look at it from this perspective. As the population grew, as the world started requiring a lot more for everything, the industry that we are in, it also, of course, faced challenges of scaling up, right? And say any industry that you take, say for example, the poultry industry. How could an industry of that scale cater to a population that's say twice or thrice what it was 30, 40 years back? It came up with systems that led to animals growing up quicker in farms. The processes were streamlined to make sure that everyone is well fed. Bringing something of that sort to our industry, I think minimalism is a byproduct of something of that sort. Someone had to come up with an idea, thinking that, okay, we have so many homes coming up. Not everyone can afford that kind of craftsmanship. Of course, probably everything starts in the West, like probably minimalism also started in the West that way. And people started looking up to those thoughts and those concepts and started adapting them in the real life. But we started realizing that in the process of building something of that sort, it's quicker to build, it's probably cheaper to build, and it's more achievable for a larger mass. So I think.
So let me ask the audience once. Do you think minimalism was invented to have, a cheaper option of building buildings? Or is it a totally different philosophy? What does the audience think about it? Anyone? You can both speak. I mean, there is no conflict. Can someone give Vandisha a mic, please?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So coming back and joining in this debate, I don't think minimalism was invented in the West. I think most of our Indian homes were minimal when we go back about 300 years. Okay? We have learned to live with the basics. Our culture is very, very soulful. So it is not something that we are mimicking. Shashank, I think you have a lot of credit in the argument that you're doing, but if you go back 300 years or 500 years, you will realize our culture was so minimal, and we just, as an Indian society, we just made what we required, number one. Number two, it's not only in the West. If you look at Japan, they are also very clean line, okay? And I don't think, Yash, personally, I mean, of course, everybody's free to have an own opinion, but I don't think this was created to cater to mass housing or mass people. I think the Scandinavian form of design is their culture. They are very simple and very less kind of towards the materialistic things. So if you look at even a apartment in Tokyo, which is one of the most expensive real estate in the world today, okay, they don't have a choice but to be very simplistic, very minimal, because nobody wants to live in a cluttered home. So whereas we in India will have 15 wardrobes in a walk-in dressing room for our clients, you'll go to the probably the most expensive apartments in Tokyo or in Finland, and you'll find just 2 wardrobes, but that is their culture. So I don't think we are at all mimicking the West by trying to adapt minimalism. I agree with Khushbu that it is also a way of balancing the cost versus the cost and aesthetic, because you can create a very pleasing aesthetic space by using lesser materials and lesser clutter in your designs. But you guys are doing great.
Debalata, you want to add on?
Hello. My take was a little bit more academic, since you asked where minimalism started from. As far as I would like to say that it started from the art world. It came with Mondrian painting. Like pre-Renaissance, there was idealistic painting. Then the Renaissance came more realistic painting. Thereafter, Picasso, and there was Impressionism, and then there was Picasso, the modernist. And then finally came the minimalism in painting, which was Mondrian started with just straight lines and all. They said painting can be nothing but just 1 or 2 lines or 1 or 2 patches of color. And then Jackson Pollock broke it. So that's another line. So minimalism started from that. They started designing the chairs. If you remember the famous Distil chair, which is just straight lines and everything, which influenced the architecture once again. And then there was Mies van der Rohe and Glass House, which was epitome of minimalism. But for God's sake, that was not cheap. That was more expensive possibly than Lloyd's Falling Water, because every material was super expensive in Mies van der Rohe's Glass House. So minimalism was definitely not cheap. Even today, you really want to make a minimalistic house, the level of finishing that will be required, the level of perfection that would be required, and the quality of the material will be required to make that really achieve that level of aesthetics will come out more expensive than if you make a very mishmash, a lot of garish design, because you'll have too many materials to hide every other details. And and that's one way of, and what Rupandi said, she said that's also right. Like Indian philosophy, we were not minimalist, I would rather say we were more optimist. We used
resourceful.
we optimized everything and we lived to whatever was necessary. So with Japan, and another little bit of information, like there was almost 200 years in Japan when the Japanese emperor, the dynasty, they decided that not a single person will enter the Japanese island. Okay, there was a period, probably from 1200 to 1400, no sheep was allowed to enter Japan. Nobody could enter Japan. So the Japanese people have to sustain themselves with whatever resource they have. And they are tiny islands. So their resources very, very restricted. So no matter they evolve minimalism, and it's kind of a maturity in design sense also. From having too much, as I said, in art world, it moved from the idealistic to realistic and then to minimalism. I think minimalism also is a matured sense of design also.
So
that's my personal
what
take.
we are looking at is, on one hand, minimalism is a way of life, a way of living, where we are using the minimal resources that is necessary, bare minimum. And the other way is like, when we talk about from a design point of view, it is about reducing clutter, or celebrating a particular ideology, or maybe a particular material or something like that. Like you said, that the Barcelona pavilion, like the materials that are used, they are not cheap. And I think the idea of the architect was never to do something cheap. It is about the philosophy that was more important. But I get Yash's point when he says that minimalism is also used to reduce costs, because a lot of our clients, very honestly, a lot of our clients talk to us, isko minimalism kar lo, because it reduces cost. And this is a very hard rule. Yeah.
Word understanding is not
So
there.
no,
That is the
so
process.
I'll just add on to it. So there's a difference between.
Abhishek will keep on saying anything. Oh,
So I'll just add on to it. I think there's a difference
just a
between,
yeah.
Utilization, space utilizations, and color and light and old materials can change as a present situation, then minimalist possible.
It's a reuse.
My suggestion.
Okay.
so
Yeah, just
I think there's a difference between minimum and minimalism. Okay, so minimalism is a theory, it's a design philosophy. I think just coining these great gentlemen that you took reference of, maybe Philip Johnson or Means van der Rohe, they said less is more. And in our contemporary, I think we have Bjarke Ingels who says yes is more. So it's about the hedonistic design approach and few other things. And I think given a choice, I think who wouldn't like to have, let's say, 50 wardrobes in their house? You know, it's just how we have evolved, where we are coming to the Indian households, and actually whatever we have studied, maybe our thousands years of history and kind of the temple architecture we see. I mean, it's very intricately designed. I think every element is paid attention to. It's just that in our times, maybe it's challenging that maybe we cannot build that form. And I think maintenance is always a challenge. And there are a few other things, there are several factors which I think plays in. But I think you look at the new parliament, it's no way minimalism, right? There's nothing minimalistic about it. It's there, it's standing as a testimony of our time that post-independence that we have built something strong. It's there to say that this is the new India.
New parliament is not very economical either.
There you go. And I think material does play like a major factor. I think simple, clean, straight lines. And I think it's just the perfect choice of material and the proportions, I think gives that aesthetic value, which will be unparalleled to like cluttering the whole space.
I just want to add to what Ms. Shah was saying and what Yash had said. Yash said because population grew, you needed more space. So now Japanese are living, or how Indians used to. It's going to be a way of life for Indians also. Minimalism is going to be a way of life with the population growing, space constraint coming in. Bombay, you're already living like that. Your 800 square feet flats, which are costing 5 crores, 10 crores. You can't clutter it. So it is, like you said, it is a philosophy. It's a design philosophy. And it's going to become like that. And it's nowhere cheap.
Can I add
Nowhere
something
the
to
flats
that?
in Bombay are cheap
So
to design. They're quite expensive,
What
even though they're minimalist.
I think
Well, I
what
think minimalism probably started
Yeah.
differently as you guys
Yeah.
rightly mentioned, but then I feel that it got adapted very well to suit other needs, is where I feel it came from. Because
I think
and I'll give you one more small thought about this, ma'am. When you mentioned that it started with something that was like you said, you need the best of materials to even create minimalism, right? The entire industry works on the concept of aspiration, and for someone at the top of the pyramid to create aspirational value is easier. But the moment you come down, they kind of look up to what can be something more aspirational at something that they can afford. And minimalism became more accessible that way, I feel.
You should use the term functionalism. I think that would be more appropriate.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, Raj, you want to add
no, I
something on
think
this?
I was going in the same lines that we're just overusing the term minimalism because it's actually very complicated, and to a lot of these famous Japanese architects and firms like Tadao Ando, Atelier Bauhaus, we see through the drawings that each detail is so meticulously crafted to create that minimalist design. So I think here we are just being more resourceful, function to suit the needs instead of just defining minimalism as just lack of material and economic efficiency.
I'm going to digress a bit, but take example of this beautiful iPhone. I think it's the most simple product. It's just packaged really well, but it's the most expensive phone that we are having, right?
Yes, and talking about expenses, let me come back to Khushbu once more. Interior design, especially in interior design, there's absolutely no threshold to which you can actually, spend money, right? So sometimes, and you have an array of products. You have some products are very comparable in terms of their look and feel. So I want to ask you something like, do you think that price at times subconsciously for a designer also becomes an indicator of quality, or the way you choose the material sometimes, you go for the same finish, but there's a higher price, you won't tend to think that this is much more better or something like that? Or is it on the face value?
See,
Like
for the client, the cheaper is the better option, but the question mark is always there that is he compromising on the quality? But for us designers, we know that there are certain brands which can be giving the same product, but a particular brand can be more established. The marketing team has worked on more than the other product. For example, if I tell somebody that I'm taking a Havells fan, they will not doubt me. In comparison to any other brand, like Attenborough is doing really well and coming up in Eastern India, they will have a question. I'll have to answer 10 things, which will not happen with an established brand. So it is not a quality, which is the main difference, but the main difference is how established the brand is, because that really creates a lot of confidence in the end consumer to the product.
I think, can I add
Yeah, sure, please.
something? I think this process is also starting to shift where, of course, cost and economics is an issue. But now in choosing two products or multiple options, clients want to know the narrative or the story behind the product. For example, if we want to choose a winner, there are endless options. But then once we start to educate the clients about how sustainable the source of the veneer was, clients get more attracted to that option, or from which the origination of a marble and the story behind that product. So I think that really starts to excite and form opinions more than cost and spending money. I think that is the narrative of the product is starting to become very important for the modern consumer, I believe.
Yash is frowning, yeah.
Yes, I
Sure.
think for this question at least, there's no one size fits all for all categories. Because again, if you look at a few natural products, you really can't have a price defining quality, right? There could be factors of demand, there could be scarcity of products. For example, if you have marbles, there would be natural stones that would be rather expensive, but then it does not define quality that way. Something that could be cheaper may not be poor in quality. But then if you go to something more technical, say, for example, lighting, you could have all sorts of products where something that if you kind of technically delve into the build of a product or what the application is, it will give you a better guidance on what quality is vis-a-vis the price, instead of seeing it like one theory for all the categories.
So I think we are assuming that we know the product inside out before judging. But my question is, when you're looking at two products, comparable products, one is priced higher than the other. What is your take on it? Like, what is your subconscious telling you whether this is better or that is better?
I mean, the first thing is it makes me inquisitive about what's the difference. For someone who's a professional, at least that should be the first response, right? Rather than an opinion on what's good or bad, it should be what's the difference between the two, and the price can come later. And then, of course, you can judge how well a price fits into your project or a certain economic setup. But then the first should be the merit of the product itself and how it performs in your project.
So
Shubhajit,
what do
there's-
you think about this?
Shubhajit, just a moment here, right?
Yeah.
The first table, right here.
Yeah.
I've got Preeti Mahendru, the interior designer. She has an observation. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I have actually a question about minimalism in our Indian culture, where we have this storage solution problems. See, whenever we go to client, they have got multiple things to store, and they say that we want a minimalist house. So it's like a really a question for us. Minimalism actually comes for decluttering. How much we declutter? In abroad, we have a spring declutter, we have a winter declutter, and a summer declutter. Nothing like this happens in India. They never throw things, and they always like to accumulate. So how we actually create a minimalist house or minimalist home
So
for
what
that?
he's asking, yeah, how much is too much?
I also echo the same sentiments.
That's the exact issue which we all face, because although they say they want minimalism, but they want a lot of storage. They follow Instagram and social media where they see pockets made out of curtains also. And they say, wo designer diya tha, aapne to nahi diya. So it is, the name minimalism, as you know, we mentioned, is used in the wrong manner. It is actually not minimalistic. You speak to the husband, he will want a very minimalistic thing which suits his pocket. But with the wife, she'll want more storage, plus wo friend ke yahan wo tha, meri masi ke yahan wo hai, wo sab bhi dalo. So you actually make a fusion food, huh? There's pav bhaji with a nice bread layer too.
Is there a way to make these clients who are very discerning today to be educated?
Yes.
And what can we do unanimously and across? It's not that Khushbu does one or Shashank does the other one. How do we make sure that it percolates down to the last mile in terms of making these discerning, clients of yours educated and conscious about this? Haji or whatever. Clutter ही मत करो ना. Some, मतलब ये stage से नहीं होना चाहिए पूरा. I mean, the whole messaging goes across.
I don't think it will work ever, because we live in a world where consumerism has taken over. Whatever you try doing, unless you can avoid consumerism seeping into your life, like so many products attacking you every day, making you feel the need of something that you don't really need. If you can't move out of that cycle, I don't think any form of minimalism is ever gonna help in terms of interior.
Maybe Marie Kondo can help.
Yeah, well, with the permission of Subhrojit, who is a little angry on me for making him the captain of the younger team, I would like to add to.
Where are you?
Here, my friend. So like,
I have 2 more minutes.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you can take it from our panel discussion part, because we're already, most of the panelists has already said. So, so it's like, the name that you mentioned, Marie Kondo's book. So best way to educate your client is to show them some pictures of the films where the scene depicts a very, very poor family economically, because everybody has an aspiration to be rich. Okay. So if you show them any place, randomly pick any film and take up no moment where it is being shown a very poor family, what you will see is a lots of accumulation, because that accumulation comes from a mentality of scarcity. Aaj rakh lete hai, kya pata kal lag jayega, kaam do. So if you just get rid of that mentality and give them that book, once they come, you just give them that book of Marie Kondo and ask them to go through it, the art of tidying up, perhaps. Yes, and no, if the negativity works much better than positivity. So just show them that if you keep on storing things, do you want your house to look like this? But this is not minimalism. But what you can do is you can have this thing and design something which is like a film set only, and put a white curtain in front. Then the entire dirty thing will be staying within their rooms. In many cases, what all your clients are wanting to have 15 wardrobes, as Rupandadi said, 15 wardrobes. You say, why 15? You go for 150. Then they will get scared. Why do I need so many? Then you can tell, see, if you don't need 150, then perhaps you don't need 1.5 also. Even if you make a simple rule that one new shirt in, one old shirt out, that will make your life much simpler. So best way to educate your thing is that you give them an app where they can donate their old stuff that they haven't used for last 5 years.
Okay,
and we can go on that.
Yeah.
So what can you educate your clients?
So there is a buzzer. So we'll take 10 minutes from the next session, because he has already spoken for 10 minutes. Because
Is that
one
possible?
question.
Can we do that? I think it's very dicey, guys.
Requesting.
It's not possible, right?
I think this will go on and on. So you could sum it up, and I think over the cocktails we can
Yeah,
keep the
absolutely.
discussion.
So I'll just take just one question that I feel is very relevant, especially for the younger generation. We are now in the age of AI, right? And every day we are threatened by AI. aa jayega. So the graphic designer is gone, his job is gone. Now the interior designer, now the architect. What are your takes on it? What do you think? What happens when a human and the AI, they clash together, or there is a collaboration? What is your take on it?
A very short one, guys.
Yes,
I think,
very short one.
30 seconds.
I think AI is a tool for us architects to become more specialized, and instead of seeing it as a competition, maybe it's a tool for us which complements us. And I think you can vaguely compare AI to a sketch, like we draw something and we ideate. Similarly, we can use AI to generate quicker design ideas, which can then become more sophisticated instead of just expecting AI to do the whole process
But
for us.
it's great if it remains that, but I think it's becoming smarter day by day.
And we
I
need
mean,
to as well then.
Whatever we are talking about, I think the phones are listening and they think it's going to recommend you a product, what you're going to need.
So you mean to
So-
say architects will be even paid less with the AI? Now that it is being, reproduced.
asking for more designs. More designs.
No, but I'll strongly disagree to this point. AI can never replace us. Definitely, it can make our work easier. You fit in what you want, your requirement list.
Yeah, we are just moving.
Ultimately, you require your
That is their way of, telling us.
okay, I'll be loud.
Yeah.
You require your improvisation, your own human touch to a project. Supposedly, you come to go to AI. You tell you need a space for this, and you like a particular style. It will only follow case studies, what has been hidden into it, and then just make a calculation and give you. But supposedly, you come to me. I'll give you 10 options and improvise it according to what you need. Those small things a designer can only do. That human touch can only be given by a person and not a machine.
I think generalized designs will
Yes,
definitely be taken up by the AI in the future, where we are looking for just generalized options. So as architects as well, we need to level up and offer more customized solution. And that is where AI will help us push our boundaries as well. So
Okay, I think we are running out of time and it's time to leave
Yes,
the
we are.
chairs for the seniors. I
Th-
think normally it's the other way around, but today we are going the other way around.
Thank you so very much, ladies and
so
gentlemen.
much.
I would request you to kindly please stay here with us. That was an engrossing session, I must say, and I'm sure if we wouldn't have stopped it, it would have gone really, really long. And thank you all I would request all of you. I know, guys, you guys are really, you want to go back to your seats, I know. I would still request you to kind of please be here with us. And I sincerely hope there are no more questions, but is there any questions from the audience? We'll take it later. All right. All right, moving on. It's time for the felicitation. And for that, I would like to call upon on stage Mr. Partha Kormakar from Havells Professional Lighting and Anand Prakash, VP and Head Eastern Zone, Jindal Steel and Power, on stage to facilitate our esteemed panelists here. Gentlemen, can we please have you here on stage? Currently, we don't have Mr. Kormakar here with us. And so I would request Mr. Pramod from Jindal. And can we please request Mr. Suhas to kindly join us here from Havells? And we are going to start on with our amazing panelists, starting with the lady here, Khushbu Shah, co-founder, the Mark Decor. Thank you so much, Khushbu, for your insights on the discussion. Next, we have Raj Pariwal, Associate Architect from Maheshwari and Associates. Next, we have Shashank Shahabadi, from the Principal Architect from East Side Office. I can only see this table clapping. Come on, guys. Everyone. Next, we have Viresh Mahan, Chief of Sales and Services from ICA. Next, we have Yashvardhan Agarwal, the founder of Blue Masons. And don't worry, we are not going to forget about our moderator, Shubhrajit Mitra, co-founder and principal architect from Square. Can we please have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. And now moving on to the next panel. And for that, may I request the panelists. But before that, I would like to request you all to kindly please take a look at the Jindal AV. Can we have the AV, please? I would now like to call Sanjay Nandadwar, Product Application Group Head, Jindal Steel and Power, to gain a better understanding about the brand Jindal Panther. Can we please have a round of applause and welcome him on stage? Welcome, sir. Presentation? Sure.
Good evening, everyone. We are from the Jindal Steel. Hello. Jindal Steel and Power Limited. Jindal Steel and Power Limited, it's a 33 years old company. We started in 1990s around, and we are one of the fastest growing company in India. We have a market share of more than 8%. The total production capacity in India is 110 million tons, and we are producing almost 8.6, and we are adding more 5 million tons more in our product basket. To start with, I'm very proud to present you in front of the architects. The most important thing which appeal me and to the country also, that the architect is the architect who designs, who imagines the product, because everything starts from the imagination and then final to the the culture. So our mission is the building nations and empowering the communities. That is our Jindal Steel and Power mission. And we values the extreme ownership. We values the better than before. We values respect for people, and we have a sustainability. So these are our core values. We are defined last year only. And our vision is to ever flourishing company and empowering the nation building. So when we comes under the Jindal Steel and Power, the steel plants, it comes with the integrated steel product. So right from the raw material to the finished product, we should have a integrated coke ovens, blast furnace, then DRI, the SMS, then final electric arc furnace, the slab casters, then the final re-rolling mills. So these are all the one of the heart of our steel making. You must have heard about the lot of accidents which happened in the past, like in Calcutta also one bridge collapsed earlier, long time back, almost 5 years back. We saw one of the accident recently also. There was a World Trade Tower accident. Then we had a Titanic accident. So what I want to say that the product application, the steel applications plays a very important role in our industry. Whatever we are using in the industry, maybe it's right from the TMT rebars or any other applications like shipbuilding grades or the boiler segments or the bridges, roads and highways, infrastructures, wherever. The category of steel varies from application to application. How much cleanliness it is required, like in the rails, in terms of the rails, it requires a very high cycles of fatigue life cycle. So we are one of the producers of the rails also. And in the TMT rebars, there is a different type of quality requires against the application like primary and integrated steel plants. So this is one of the flow chart, which starts from the iron making to the final products. So JSPL is having one of the largest blast furnace, and the DRI also, it's almost a 2 million tons of capacity of the DRI and more than 4 million tons of blast furnace capacities. And electric arc furnace, this is a 5 million tons to 2.5 million tons to electric arc furnaces. And then further we have a rolling mills. When we say the steel has to be very clean. And how we are producing, we are cleaning it through the refining process. And then the continuous casters are there where we have a soft reduction facilities and the electromagnetic stirrers are there. So there are different skill sets involved for producing this type of steels. Some of the applications where we are supplying our products, one is the TMT rebars, where we are one of the primary producers. Then we have a wire rod segments, then plates. In plates, we have different applications like the wind towers, the boiler grades, the shipbuilding grades. Then we have multiple other segments as well, offshore industries. We are one of the primary suppliers for the rails in India. And here we are proud to say that we have substituted the imports also in terms of the metro rails. We are one of the only producers of head-hardened rails in India. We are producing as per the IRS T12 grades, grade 880, 1080, 13964, all the international standards also. We are also producing the structural sheet piles and other products. So I'll just move fast on this. So one of the most important factor when you are designing any steel like the high-rise buildings, the quality of the product plays a very important role. When we say the quality, it has to be as per the 1786, that is Indian standard, plus the seismic range. It should also comply to the seismic range. That's a 13920. 13920, it's very important because during the designing of this, we have to consider the factor of safety of the zone 3, 4, and 5. So it has to be seismic resistant and also complying to the IS codes. One of the most important thing when earthquake it happens, it has to be complying to the fatigue life cycles also. And here UTS to YS ratio in our product should be 1.15, more than 1.15. Jindal Steel and Power, we are proud that we are the only producers. First time in India, we have produced up to 50 millimeter TMT rebars. And up till now, all the primary producers, they are producing only up to 40 millimeters. So this is one of the new launch we have. 50 millimeter Jindal Panther TMT rebars. This is recently developed. And we are also got the BIS license for this supplies. And we'll be very soon supplying for the nuclear power projects in India. And we'll be exporting these products. Jindal Steel and Power, we are certified with the certifications of the UK, CARES, Singapore, that's a BS 4449B 500B, Singapore, CPAS CS2, and Hong Kong. These are all the different SS 560s, the certifications. We also have a certifications for the Australia and New Zealand. That's a ACRS grades. So the product itself complies to the standards, and whatever the in the India, when we are saying the secondary products and the primary products, there is a fatigue life cycle where there is a one pull-out test involved in this type of TMT rebars. And when we say the TMT rebars, it has to comply the life cycles of 10 million cycles. That means when we are using these applications for the bridge applications or any other applications, it has to comply to the standards. JSPL, we are also supplying the TMT rebars as per the CRS grades, corrosion resistant TMT rebars CRS, and the life cycle of this type of TMT rebars is more than 100 years. I will just trying to show that it's the mill, Jindal Steel and Power, we have a fully 100% level 2 automation controls. There is no manual intervention in the mill. One of the beauty is that due to the unmanned total 100% controls, the pass line of the mill is 5 meters. And in all the other mills in India, they are having a pass line of 700 millimeter or 1 meter. The advantage is cooling systems are very good in this type of mills. The technology is from the Siemens and the SMS mill. Each and every equipment which we have is having some unique features. Like in the walking beam furnaces, it's a walking beam furnace against the pusher type furnaces, old technologies. So whatever we are seeing today, the old technologies have been vanished in the new mills like us. The high pressure descalers, this plays a very important role. Then we have a rolling mill, vertical and horizontal rolling mills. I will just try to skip some of this. Now, this HYQST technology which we have, this is the heart of our mill. Whenever we are producing the TMT rebars, HYQST, high yield, quench and self-tempered product, the entire mill length is more than 90 meters. What we want to achieve in the TMT rebars. One of the most important factor which we have, I'm proud to say that we as a JSPL, we are supplying all the three grades like the FE500D, FE550D and FE600. So in FE550D, there is a way advantage in terms of the designs. If you compare and design as per the FE550D, there is a weight saving of 10 to 12% in the design itself. So one is the consistency of the product and second is consideration of the design and saving in terms of the cost. Then one of the most important factor is whatever multi-static ring you are seeing in this type of the TMT rebars, this you will not find in most of the mills. So here, this is the actual multi-static structure which we find. And in some of the secondary mills, if you see, the TMT rebar will look like the round ring only, but the actual multi-static ring somewhere it will be vanishing. In this code 13920, it's the UTS to YS ratio is very important. That's why I just try to show you that 1.15 to 1.25 we are maintaining in this type of rebars. We have tried some comparisons with designing with the beam in M30 concrete. Then there is some savings of more than 15% in terms of the reinforcement when we design the beam. In terms of the column also, there is a weight saving, and it's a typical comparison of the two basement plus the G+22. So here what we have tried to show you that if you design in 500 versus the FE550D, there is a weight per meter advantage of the steel in our product. So the weight consumption is 4.51 vis-a-vis the 4.89. And the total weight saving we are shown up to 8% in terms of the FE550 to FE500. There are some of the advantages in terms of the design also. We have one more product that is a sheet piles. So this is also one of the applications where we can use this type of sheet piles in terms of the coastal areas. And we are also supplied for the Mumbai Coastal Road project. So this is how it looks like, and it is very well used in the side barricading of the against the sea waters or anywhere where there is a confined space is available. JSPL, we are also manufacturing the high strength structural steels. In high strength structural steels, there is E250, 350, 450. Then it comes to the S690 and then the 1000 MPa strength steels. And also we have a capability of producing up to 1700 megapascal steel. So what I want to say here, depending on the applications of the steels, we have a techno-how knowledge of how we can increase the strength of the steel. So JSPL is the only one of the primary suppliers who are able to produce and increase the strength of steel to 10 times. We are also supplying for the defense, that's for the mine protected vehicle or the bullet protected vehicle. We are also supplying the products for the mine protected vehicle where the strength of steel is multiplied by 10 folds. So that's the advantage of the design in this type of grades. Some of the applications we are trying to show. This is based on the hospital. Give me 2 minutes. I am just on the closer of my presentation. So these are some of the locations where we have supplied our products. Alphatum Towers, that's a building in Noida. We are also supplied for the Cybertham projects. This is in Noida, two basement plus G+55. Our steels have been used for the Film City, Winchester building. Then some of the, say, AIMS Bilaspur, we have supplied our structural steel, the Nomex buildings. This is one of the iconic building of Gurgaon. That's a built by M3M G+40. So these are car parking. Our steels can be used for car parking also. And here in NICL corporate tower, that's a G+14 steels. So mainly what I want to say here, based on the design, on the architecture, you can design, imagine any type of thing. Like the concrete buildings, it cannot be designed as per your wish. But as if you use the structural steels, it can be designed as per any your imagination, the level of anything you can. This is a Prime Minister Museum project. IISC Bangalore. This Chenab Bridge is also one of the prestigious product, and this is designed, the entire steel design is ours. We have supplied almost 27,000 tons of steel for this project. One of the dream project for India, and it is commissioned now. So thank you very much. With this, I can close my presentation. Thanks. Any queries?
Ladies and gentlemen, any questions you have for Mr. Nandanvar? I guess no. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you. Well, now for the much awaited Doan's panel discussion, one we have been waiting for with bated breaths. And spearheading it is none other than the fantastic architect Kamal Periwal. Can you please have a round of applause and welcome him on stage? Please, sir. So I would request you to kindly please take the stage and invite our panelists for the next session.
Hello, friends. So we are already running late, and the topic is already established by Gen Next. So now I'm calling my friend JP Agarwal, who is having a very 35-year plus experience, and I can say he's having the maximum number of square feet built in the Eastern India, as well as also in Mumbai. He's having very tall and very successful building in Mumbai also. So he is here, and we'll focus on what the it's not the economic we want to understand. We want to understand how they experience, how they delivered so much of construction, so much of projects with this kind of situation where the economics is also important, where the aesthetic is also important, and function of the project is also important. We have the Malya Guha, who is handling many institutional projects as well as some public spaces. And we would like to hear from him how he is doing so many projects and what is the experience we can gain from him. Of course, in our panel, I have tried to take from different angle, like he's having the large scale project handling, he is doing institutional project. Of course, we have Rupandesa, who is doing many interiors where it's very expensive kind of stuff she's using. So Rupandesa here. Abhishek Datta, he's multiplying his practice. I've seen in last four, 5 years, he is multiplying his practice every year. What is the trick behind? I would like to understand from him. And he's handling many schools at this moment of time. So educational practice, how to create the experience with the budget, and also you'd like to hear from him. We have Sudeshna Mukhopadhyay, who is lighting designing, and the experience which we want to gain from the lighting. Of course, we don't want to pay for that. So we want to understand what is the trick behind how we can take up from the lighting, and our client, how they can be convinced before time. So we can convince them to invest in the lighting design. So of course, we are not debating on the cost. We are only asking the experience, because it's not the form where we would like to debate how the saving the cost and all. This is not the debate we want to understand. We definitely want to understand from you how you have handled the situation, and what is the experience or what is the deliverable you have managed so far. So with the JP, I would like to understand large scale development project where function is more important, economics is more important, how you have handled the aesthetics of that project. My question is this, like in the large scale project, functions is more important. The economics, of course, it's so important because there is no scope where the function is important. The value is also important. So though there is no extra money to pay for it. So how he has handled aesthetics in that project? That is a question from JP Agarwal. In fact, this is not the question. I would like to say this is he should share the experience, or he should give us some idea how he has handled that.
I think it's not right. It's totally on, but it's not working. Good evening, friends. I think the question is that how I design low-cost housing. Okay, maintaining the aesthetics, as well as the economy. Okay, low-cost housing is my favorite subject. I started my career about 35 years back, and first mass housing which I did was a club town on a VIP road. That must be about 25 years back. Later on, we designed Sherwood, that is almost about 20 lakh square feet project in Narendrapur. And I remember the booking was open in 750 rupees a square feet. And later on, we kept on designing number of such projects. But I must admit that the economy has changed, and the time we designed Club Town and Sherwood, now the things are quite changed. And the budget is always available, slightly higher than these two projects. If not, you can say that exorbitant, like the Reserve kind of a project we did on Guru Sadai Road, Tivoli Court. See, low-cost housing, or you can say affordable housing, is a different ballgame altogether. And when it comes to functionality, be it a luxurious house, luxurious building, high-end apartment like the 42, or be it low-cost housing or affordable housing, both are same. the functionality cannot be compromised. So let us be very clear on that. The functionality, there is no difference between the two buildings. But when it comes to handling a project at a lower cost and giving a similar or the expected aesthetics value, that is always a challenge. And I think, it comes with how you think, how you approach the project right from the beginning. If at all you try to do the value addition at a later stage, probably it becomes very difficult because, you just cannot touch the facade, or you just cannot think about the aesthetics at a later stage. So I think it is all about our mentality, how we approach aesthetics. It is merely from the facade or more from the ambience. So if at all we do the thing with the right mindset, with very high consciousness about the people who are going to live over here and what kind of lifestyle you are going to offer them, how you are going to fulfill their aspirations, the aspirations of the middle class and the people who are going to buy the low cost housing, you have to be extremely sensitive on that area. And when you try to address that as an architect, probably, your thinking, your mentality, your way of approaching the aesthetics, not merely from the facade point of view, or not merely from the superficial beauty point of view, that becomes extremely important. So leave apart I'm not taking the technical session over here of how to handle the structure and minimize the cost. So, that is always there. That, of course, if at all you end up spending more in the structure, then probably the finishing will get compromised. But at the same time, we must learn from our masters like a Laurie Baker, who designed fantastic buildings into the south, and he really has taught us that how to do the projects within the budget. He used to ask the client whenever he comes to him that, what is your budget and how much you want? And he will design the building for him within that budget and maintaining the same number of bedrooms and the requirement of the family. So it's if at all we approach from there that, if the client is asking for a project to sell in say, today the low cost housing means anywhere around below 4,000 rupees a square feet. And if at all you know about the budget of your client, then you have to offer them completely holistic solution, which meets the needs and the aspirations of the people who are going to occupy. And at the same time, your client does not suffer while finishing the project.
So as we understand that is 750 rupees square feet, and he has delivered such a successful projects. So all the builders lined up, I can see that they have lined up to the JP Agarwal. What a fantastic design you have delivered within the cost, where they want to earn maximum out of it. 750 was not the budget, 750 was the budget, and from that they want to save and they want to earn from that. So it was a quite challenging scene. It was like today's market, they spend more and they earn more, but in that market, they spend less and they want more out from the architects. So this was a challenging scene he has handled so far. And of course, we would like to hear from you something more about that. But really, I would like to go to the most expensive interior designer sitting within us, like Rupan Desa. Please tell us how you handle the design aesthetics, which starts from the day one, from the client, that key aesthetics are more about the design. And when it comes to the execution, that time the fluctuation, that time the client starts saying, yeah, bahut expensive and like that. So how you handle your imagination, your design ethic or your professional ethic, and deliver the right product when time passes and the cost comes in. That from the beginning it doesn't come like, from the beginning it comes like, अरे इससे भी अच्छा बनाइए और भी बताइए और कुछ दिखाइए. They want to see everything and then they want to cut the cost. How you handle the situation?
So Kamal,
So Kamal, firstly, thank you for branding me the most expensive interior designer. Firstly, I'm not. I appreciate it.
So in the interior field, if you're not expensive, you're not the good interior designer. Of course, you start from the expensive. They start from the expenses and then they come to the point. अच्छा इसको कैसे कम कर सकते हैं? And then you have to deliver the first meeting what you have committed.
Okay, so coming back to your main question, the thing is now that for me, the entire language of design that I decide in a project is very important. Of course, the cost is very important also because it gets connected. So as a practice, what we do is once we have done a conceptual drawing, we have got our concepts and all cleared, we first do a budgeting for the client. So he's very clear and he's very aware of what is his pocket is going to be able to need to get punched in. At that point itself, we iron out all our problems in terms of the specifications of materials and specific and choice of materials. I agree with some of the juniors who said that I would never compromise on the base material. The quality of material has to be absolutely perfect because even though it may be a residential or any kind of interiors that we are doing, my projects, I want to make them last for 20 odd years. So we don't want to make sure, we want to make sure that the designs are evergreen, the quality of material that we have used is excellent so that it does not wear, it is sustainable for its thing, for the project. And C is, it fits the client's budget at that point. So the ironing out is done at that point itself. Where we do come under a little bit of confusion is when we get into the finishing stages in terms of dressing up the project or styling the project, which we do, everything we do in-house. So that's where the costings come and we normally then get pushed into a corner where that comes in, that you don't want to buy the piece of art that is required in that size or in that space. But as far as I'm concerned, there is never a conflict between aesthetics and economics. They both have to go hand in hand because your aesthetics are dependent on economics and economics have to depend on aesthetics. So to determine that equation is something that we do very early in our projects.
So great decision, a great idea from the Rupande that the base is all decided. The base cost means of course, there is no compromise at all. Of course, when the finishing comes, you see lives on the client and the client, by the time client is sold that key, when we are doing when we are looking the finishes, so that he will always go for the best and the price will be there. So what you are doing is you are first creating the base where all the cost is supposed to be fixed and no compromise in that when the finishing time comes. So the client is also by the time he is convinced that I'll go for the good one and pay for it, right?
See, I respect that everybody has a budget. I mean, you may be owning a 2,000 crore company, but you don't want to spend that kind of money on a project. So I understand and respect that everybody has a budget that they have to work with. And to respect the client's budget is, I think, one of our most important professional responsibility. And we respect it. And then when we chart out our project, our estimates, if he says, okay, we have shot up by X amount, then we show him or her, we show him how we can avoid those costs and what can be compromised so that neither the aesthetics nor the quality is affected in that sense.
So Rupadit, this is normal scenario when you show the client that how you can how you can fit the budget, right?
Yeah.
But there is one more scene is coming, like sometime one client comes ki nahi chalo aap kharcha karo, kitna bhi hai aap kharcha karo, there is unlimited budget. So how you handle that situation? So what happens is sometimes client in the beginning, they are not disclosing how much money they want to spend. And of course, when the time comes, they push you that ki chaliye abhi bataiye aur acha bataiye or something better you can do. How you handle that money?
So with any client that comes in, the first thing I tell them is you need to be honest, right? You go to a lawyer and if you're not honest enough and telling the entire truth, the lawyer is not going to be able to defend you in a court of law. So I always tell them first that please be clear
and let me know what is it that you want to spend. On that basis, we will work backwards. Now, when a client comes with an unlimited budget, that's the more dangerous part, because then they are far more harder to please. And we have to struggle harder to find the right materials, not just expensive. It has to be the right material suited for the particular decision that we want.
So the work start from the honesty agreement. After that, Rupan, they start the designing.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
But that is not. So I think the aspirations, as the younger generation talked about, is very high now. So when people, especially I've seen this change, especially after COVID, that people have realized that there is no need to start saving and start keeping it in. If you have it, use it, because you're going to enjoy it. So there is actually a tight situation where I have to balance them and say, this is not something that I want you to spend money on. Instead, spend money on this. Because as I said, spending money does not necessarily make a project good. It's the aesthetics, it's the way you design, the way you put things together. That is what is going to be a good project. So it's not the most expensive thing that makes it the best project.
I wish. Mic will be what?
You are quite audible. You can just.
I wish we were in the same situation. We go spend. It doesn't happen to us.
Well, ICA will probably vouch, because the amount of their product that I use in my projects is probably substantial enough.
But just to echo your sentiments, and we will obviously love to see our clients like ICA, Hiduro, Havels, to come up and say, listen, Vibhor, go spend, but I want the best, right? I know they're sitting behind. So I just want to give this messaging to all the clients and all the brands who are watching us. Sorry, I just mean to do it. Bring the little humor part of it.
So now we have Sudeshna, who is lighting designer. So here is the experience and costing. So you tell us how the experience cost in lighting design. I mean, see, the experience they will have later, the cost they are supposed to pay now, and how it is going to be convinced, and what are the real experience we supposed to get from the lighting design, lighting experience. That is what.
Hello. Am I audible? Yeah. See, interestingly, the best lighting is free, right? If you take a daylight and moonlight, and that's what we all in the industry for the last 150 years are trying to simulate. So the best lighting, best quality of lighting in terms of, whatever parameters we define, intensity, color, the variability come free. So what is actually experience in lighting? I mean, there are two ways of looking at it. One is what the light effect is, that's an experience. And that has got many layers into it. So a light effect can be formed through color, through intensity, through controlling aiming to that extent, how you position the lights, how you conceal the lights. So how you are balancing various layers of light. The principles of lighting design, as Richard Kelly had put it, that there are 4 layers. You start with the general lighting, you add accent lighting, then you add on architectural lighting, and then you have decorative lighting. So how you play with or interplay with all these 4 layers will actually, create that experience. And that experience need not always have the highest cost. You can create those experiences very simplistically, just by tuning color temperature. That is itself an experience. You change intensities from a wide beam to a narrow beam in a certain application, that will create an experience. Will there be a huge difference cost between a standard wide beam luminaire to a narrow beam? No, but it's an ability to choose the right intensity, the right distribution, the right color spectrum. So that's the other part of it. The other aspect which will contribute also to an experience are the light forms, which any manufacturer, Havels, everyone would be liking to present. That how does a product feel like, and how is it? There are various layers to it. One is what is the light quality which is coming out. So if your main quality is the light which is coming out, it depends on what you're designing. If you're designing a museum, the quality of light, the color, the stability of the color, if you're using 20 spots, all the 20 spots, I mean, you would like it to have the same color appearance and exactly the same beam. So that will determine one. The second aspect, the second aspect of it would be the form and shape. That will also determine what material you are using, what processes you are using. That is where the big difference also comes. So today, I mean, I've been in the lighting industry for 36 years now. Earlier in India, we did not have access to a lot of materials, manufacturing processes. And also we did not have access to many testing procedures as well. So if you really had to go in for a very high specification form factor or designs, people used to import. Today, the large brands like Havels, like probably a few others, almost 90% of the products are made in India. So that's also, bringing the cost element down. So you could still now create a fantastic experience with a, very beautiful product, delivering the light quality at a much more affordable rate. So it's more than economics, it's about affordability of a specification. But first we need to define what are the must-have specifications you need to have. It will differ from application to application. So there cannot be one standard room. You design a residence in different way. He designs an educational institute. The requirements and the specifications will be very, very, very different. So yes, experience has a cost, but not necessary. We say that everything which wows you has to be at a higher cost level. I mean, so we talk about more optimization in terms of the lighting it delivers, the quality of light it delivers.
I'll come back to you because we are running short of time.
Yeah.
And of course, that will be the last question, because then you can take your own time.
Okay, sure.
So I have another one question for JP again. My question is this: say many times you get a land parcel with good infrastructure, maybe the better road connectivity, and sometimes it is very inferior infrastructure. That in that scenario, how you handle the project aesthetically as well as the economical?
If at all there's a good infrastructure available, then there is no challenge, obviously, that you make best use of the infrastructure available to you. But the challenge is there when there is no infrastructure or there is not sufficient infrastructure. I give you a few examples. When the Rajarhat was being developed, one was the New Town area, and second was the surrounding area of the New Town. That is we popularly known as a 211 bus route. Right. Okay. On 211 bus route, there's a humongous amount of development came suddenly in the period of, say, last 15 years, I would say. We designed our first project, Siddha Pines, about 14, 15 years back over there. Now, then there was a period when almost for 2 years, the municipality, not the municipality, most probably Pollution Control Board stopped giving the clearances over there for 1.5 years, saying that there is no infrastructure over there. How can you put up a project over there? So now the thing is that what this infrastructure are we referring to? The first thing is a solid waste disposal. In KMC, there is a proper system of a disposal now. Otherwise there used to be a dhapa on a bypass, and you have seen all the mess created over there. And later on, the things have been streamlined considerably. But on the 211 bus route on all this area where the development was taking place, there was no infrastructure for the solid waste disposal and the management rather. Now, second thing is a water supply. So there is no water supply system available over there from the municipality. So only the source left is a tube well. Now, when you take the tube well water out, naturally the water table is depleting. Then suddenly there's a lot of hue and cry about the depleting water table over there. And government has started putting the control on how much you can draw and how much you have to take a permission for the having a tube well, etc., etc. So, and the third is definitely the electricity, which can always be handled much easily compared to other two issues. Now, as an architect, what part I can play? I cannot generate the water, so naturally there has to be a water, but I can design a building which can save the water. So the concept came about the water harvesting, the concept came about the net zero, again, a very big challenge. We tried to do that in Technopolis, where we tried to make it net zero in terms of water, and we tried to have, because that is an air-conditioned building, so we could recycle the whole of the water. Okay, so there are the ways where the architects can intervene and give the inputs, and these things can be handled. But I must say that, yes, again, this is a very big subject, when it comes to controlling the, or rather making best use of the infrastructure and creating an infrastructure within your own building or within your own project. And apart from architectural applications, there are a lot of technical applications, which architect has to know that how to go about it. And I think it is very, very challenging to handle things like that.
Siddhapine is one of the project which he mentioned is the starting, very starting phase, and it was in the municipality area. It was not in the new town. And till today, I think recently they have added one or two more tower in that. And till today, it is the most demanding project. So he has visualized that vision or aesthetic in that time, when the cost was not available, when the builder was struggling to sell that location, and from that time to till today it is doing very good. So I'll say that key aesthetics is visualized by architects long back, when the cost was not so high, and now it is when the cost is high, still it is working very nice. It's really very interesting to understand that thing. Demale, I have one question which is very, very important, like key public spaces where the aesthetic is so prioritized, where people, masses are supposed to be involved in that. How you handle that situation? What is your thought process to deliver that kind of project?
Thank you. I think this is good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say public projects, do you include like large institutional projects, or
It's a
like
public spaces like large institutional project. There's one client. Of course, the user is a third party, I can say.
Okay.
But when the public spaces, the masses is the user, and you have to work for the client who is not the client. See, public spaces means what? Someone is giving you the some department is asking you to design something, but it is for the masses and they are not the client, but you have to engage them in the experience. What is your thought process in that?
so usually what happens
Aesthetic is important. Of course, that you have to focus on that. So how you handle that?
Yeah, so I'll come to public space, and also I'll mention a little bit more about this large institutional projects or things like that. So if suppose a corporate body engages us to do their corporate headquarter or a building like that. So one aesthetics is it has to be good looking, definitely, anything has to be. And to be honest, I really don't try to make a design look good or beautiful. I just do the plan and design, and at the end, if it doesn't look good, then I know it's wrong. I just go back and redo it. But when it's representing something, so suppose it's a corporate headquarter of Virgil, like we are doing at this moment. So it was a design competition once again, and it has to represent not just an aesthetics, but it has to represent something of that company, something somehow. So, or even if it's a public space of a particular region, it has to say something. So it's not just looking good, it's beyond that, what you are doing. Or it was once a resort that I did very long time back when the client came that we don't have money, but we want people to come. How do you bring the people? So yes, then it becomes a challenge. Then it becomes a different kinds of aesthetic challenge. It's not only making to look good, but to say something, work something, or bring people to it. And then comes the question of finance, the budget. I'm quite in a contrasting point with ma'am, because for me, whatever I have dealt with, the project has been a few lakhs, or so far I have dealt projects of about 300 crore, like one building costing. Everywhere I have found the project budget was less. Budget, I have found in my 25 years of experience, more or less, budget is always less, no matter how much, how big it is, or how big the client is. I don't know. Yeah, but that was the designer's cost, not the project cost. Project. Yeah.
Not architect,
No.
including PMC.
Whatever, it's a
Huge amount.
consultancy fees,
Yes.
but it's fascinating. Yeah, definitely. So budget is very volatile, and how you plan it as an architect, you have to understand what the client needs, what the clients can afford, and you plan it accordingly. You choose your dish according to it. Like if a guest is coming to my house and I want to, give a very delicious dish, food to him or her, and if I have budget constraint, I will choose my menu according to it. I would not go for mutton biryani, which is the most expensive. If I have to, I will choose rice and dal, but very nice one. He or she will still be very satisfied. So one of my clients on a very early stage of life who came to me and said, I don't have the money. I just bought a piece of land on the sea and I have to make a resort out of it. I said, okay, fine. I'll build it, but you will have to listen to me. And so what we did, we just used the local materials, local people, and built something for which he used to charge the highest. He still charged the highest in that region. And I ended up getting several awards nationally and internationally. So it's how you plan it and you design it.
So it's good that when the client is listening and you're getting the award, and in our case, client is not listening, and definitely we are not getting the award. So Abhishek, normally material is linked to aesthetics, but in your case, when you are designing some project, how you create experience to your aesthetics, and what is the emotional value you can put in that? So that is what the question is. Like in your educational project, of course, the material, you cannot apply so much of costly material and all, but you supposed to create some emotional experience in that. How you do that?
How I look at it is little different. Like aesthetics, like as it called, that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Can you hear me now? Yeah, it's better, I guess. So it's like whatever we give, and we think that God is architect of our future, and we are architect, therefore equivalent to God. So we can dictate our terms onto the project. But many times it happens, the client is the most important architect of a project. In fact, JP once said me, first, the person who conceptualizes a project is probably it's Kamalda, right? You said this thing to me a long back, 10, 15 years back, that the person who visualizes a project or embark on it, he is the first architect of the project. He has a vision. And as us, as architects, as professionals, our duty is to keep him within budget, give him the aspirational value that he desired when he embarked on that journey, and make his ride smooth. Now, aesthetics being a very subjective term, what might be very interesting to me might not be interesting to you, right? So if we push our desired thing, I mean, in many cases, like what the Mandoda said about the public spaces or the kind of institutional buildings or educational buildings we do, the person who pays for it and the person who uses it are different. So we do not get a representation of the person who is going to eventually use that space. So how do we then decide? See, one cannot do a poetry which suits everybody. So we can only take care of the grammar and perhaps the rhythm. Rest is up to the person, because the same space which is feeling aesthetically pleasing to somebody, it can feel pathetic to somebody else, or even to that same person if his mood is different. So our job as professionals, whenever we are designing an educational structure or perhaps a public space, is to create a canvas where it doesn't shout. It lets your emotion come out in the best possible and optimal way, so that you can interpret the space the way you feel. Like if I'm creating a jail, for instance, I mean, it's a very right example perhaps. We are creating jails and we call it Sanshadhanagar, where we are supposed to correct somebody. But we keep them in a dark place, little shabby. It's very unpleasant to touch those walls, and you are keeping them in an environment where your mental flourishment, the aspiration is not going to come out. You are not going to get enriched by the environment itself. In the space of learning, for instance, we often try to design spaces where the space itself becomes a teacher. Because now especially after COVID, the entire context of educational architecture has changed quite a bit. Now, because of the technological availability to the kids also, they will come much more prepared to the space. So schools and colleges used to be a place where the information used to be given. Now it is not going to be a center for information dissemination. It will be a center where the application will be more important, where the soft skill development, the interaction, the human to human interaction, those things are going to be much more important. And spaces has to speak to you. It must inspire you. So aesthetics has a purpose. When it comes to, because all the discussions are going on whether aesthetics is cheap or it is costly. And the question is not this. Question is it right to put a value to the aesthetics beyond what soothes your eyes? Can the aesthetic be used to inspire you to think something great? If I create a white canvas, even with this kind of thing, there are hundred and thousands of options to choose from how to decor something like this. If I put my own aesthetic sense, I might look for all the architects. They will agree that the exposed concrete, the exposed brickworks, Kota stone, and all the gray tone are the colors. Those will suit us. But that same space, if you are asked to design it for a very glamorous occasion like a shadi or a ceremony like that, you yourself will not like to go to a place like that to experience and celebrate that kind of a function. So it depends on the functional requirement. In many cases, the aesthetic itself is a function that one needs to understand. So in my case, in our office, what the kind of structure that we try to do, we try to make each and every penny that we spend, because as Demalota rightly said, each project, no matter how big it is, many of the schools that we are doing are worth 100 crore. But still, that 100 crore is less. 100 crore is less because the requirement is accordingly larger. So you always are in constraint because they have lot of other things to do. They might be doing a smart classroom. They will do some technology into that. So it has to be justified. Now that justification, architect is in the best driving position to have that optimal justification because he has the vision of the entire project. He knows about all the factors which you are trying to optimize in this. So every stakeholder in any project will come with their own agenda. The person who is selling you the tile, they will push you against using natural material. The person who is importing Italian marble, they will push you to get an Italian marble. Italian marbles are needed. Fantastic quality tiles are needed. But where? That is the question. That power of choice lies with the architect. And it is, with power, it comes a great responsibility as well. So we are in that pivoting position to justify each and every move that we take, whether it is aesthetically, because whatever we do, even if we are compelled to do something, at the end of the day, if it coming out of our hand, it will have little bit of aesthetic value that we can assume. So justification, if you can't afford a costly stone, you can afford a best quality Kota. So those kind of choices is I believe to be very important while making a good building.
Kamal sir, with your permission, can I just ask? It's not, I would rather say it's a rapid fire. I haven't framed the question, but let me try and rephrase it. To each of the panelists, which is your favorite building and why? But it's not your building. That means to say that you haven't done it. Which is your favorite building where you see the marriage of aesthetics and economics? Your favorite, not your building.
You see, I would only, I would say that.
Have I got the question right?
I saw that building.
Kamal sir, is the question right?
Yes, yes.
I just need to know the building as much as the people with me in the hall would like to know which is your favorite building, not done by you, but somebody else. Yeah.
IIM Ahmedabad.
Why so?
You know,
30 seconds.
I learned my architecture from that building. You know, I studied in Baroda.
Yeah.
I studied in Baroda. And my teacher always used to ask me, what is your concept? You know, whenever I used to present a design. And I never used to understand what this concept is all about. When I saw IIM Ahmedabad, I was, you know, stunned. You know, I just couldn't understand that what I'm looking at. And how that project is a great project, and I think it's one of its kind. And I'm yet to find a parallel of that particular project.
Excellent. Give it loud. Please don't be conservative. You don't have to be.
I'll mention two buildings. One, India Habitat Center, and the other one will be
The Delhi one, the Lodhi Road?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one is City Center, Kolkata.
Awesome. And may I labor you with 30 seconds on each of them?
Both is like, it's not the built space, it's the unbuilt space which is more important.
That is a very difficult to decipher.
You know, it's when you enter India Habitat Center, it's not the building inside, but it's the open courtyard, which is framed, and you will see birds, living there. And so it's out of nothing that mesmerizing space was created.
I completely, because I'm.
And it will, it's a very Indian looking building. It does not look like a building imported from Singapore or San Francisco, but yet it feels the international level. It feels like, yes, you don't need anything more than this. And City Center 1, if you ask anybody who's not an architect, what is that building? It's just simple white blocks with square windows and nothing else. But only an architect understands that just by one building, it transformed entire Salt Lake and increased the value of the land of every property there. And if you have to go on a weekend or even a festive day to see the thousands and not thousands, probably lakhs of people, boys, girls, and old men, everyone gathering there without knowing why they are there.
Nice. Rupande.
So I was thinking a lot. Now there's no one particular building that I really am in love with. I'm in love with a lot of buildings and a lot of work that a lot of architects have done.
Only one, ma'am.
But the one thing that really strikes me is the Louvre in Paris. The Louvre. And I think most architects would have studied it as a student of architecture and the old one. And the transformation, like what he said, what City Center has done to Calcutta, the Louvre did it to the Paris, the plaza that it happened. And the fantastic part about
Glass pyramid.
The fantastic part about that is that they actually created this huge public space underground. They did not encroach into any existing open space that was already being used by the local man or the.
How thoughtful in that time.
It was excellent. I think it's one of the, and when I went there and when I have walked through the Louvre, every area is so well lit with natural light. Every piece which requires to get highlighted has a beam of a window part bringing in sunlight. That's one of my most surreal.
Super.
Project.
In my case, the question's answer cannot be in one building because the criteria has to be mentioned.
You don't have a choice.
No, you have to mention the criteria.
I insist.
I'll answer it. So the criteria, without the criteria, if you do not give the entire
Let's
context.
not go in that.
Boss, you can't say Bhagat Singh में वो बोला गया था, अगर हम लोग उद्देश्य वहां से हटा देते तो
पांडे,
judge will
आप
become
इनको
the
समझाओ।
criminal. He will become a murderer. एक building बोल रहे. If you move out the cost factor, then the buildings by Calatrava and Zaha Hadid will come up in the mind. But purpose of the building, if you say, because India Habitat Center is one of the most beautiful building in Kolkata. If it changes, if it inspires the entire zone, then I will mention one building which is very less celebrated than what it actually should be. It is the BSNL building. VSNL building. Right now, it is Tata Communication done by Prabhi Mitro. It is right in front of Ultodanga. It is a fantastic building. There can be little in the kind of services that they have solved, the kind of issues they brought in glass for the first time in Kolkata, long before the next pioneering project done by JP for Infinity, long before that. So it is a game-changing building for that. But if you give a cost and other aesthetics issues with that, I will mention the Kandalama Hotel by Geoffrey Bawa.
Say that again.
Kandalama Hotel in Sri Lanka. So where the entire mountain, the hills has become part of the architecture. While you move, the walls are basically part of the hill. But if you again let me venture into the thing, no comparison comes close to Ajanta and Ellora.
Well done. So Deshna, I mean, you've traveled the world with glorious 36 years, working with the fraternity hand in hand.
So for me, I mean, when I'm evaluating it, I'm also looking at the, the lighting context.
You
as
can't
well.
ignore that,
Yeah.
right?
So it's not a building, but I mean, that's also one of my passions that's over here. So one of the fascinating structures which always fascinate me is the Beijing Olympic Stadium. I think, the Bird's Nest Stadium. I mean, it's an awesome structure to work for the field and outside the field itself. And right next to it, they had the aquatic center, which was just 1 square of blue. And that was a aquatic center. And back home, everyone said, I think the vote goes for the India Habitat Center, partially because it was also one of my early days projects in India to be associated with.
Incredible. What is your thought on the Qatar, the recent one? I mean, in terms of the FIFA.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you take stadium.
That's really a game changer.
Yeah. The stadium architecture, especially
Every seat that you see, you feel
is completely, I mean, it's completely going a metamorphosis. So you have these movable covers. So in fact, even if you take Amsterdam Arena for that matter, you grow artificial grass during the winter months for them to play the championship over there. So the entire stadium lights, it's not only lighting for the pitch, but also horticultural light, which is helping you to grow the grass. So, I mean, that's the way the way the lighting and architecture is getting integrated for stadium is absolutely fascinating.
Thank you very much. And may I ask you, Kamal?
See, there are many buildings, but still you have asked for one. And the city center Kolkata is part of my routinal visit of Salt Lake, and it is very much whenever I want to have meeting with Abhishek Datta, I ask him to come to Abhishek, please come to the city center. And earlier there was a chai adda, chai tea junction. Now it is also, but now added the Starbucks. So that is the place where I normally goes, and people crosses. Maybe sometime some client comes, "Arey Kamal ji, aap yahan kya kar rahe hain?" This is one of the place where I sit. And City Center 1 is the one building which really is very fascinating for me. And the places which is designed by Charles Correa is, of course, the people doesn't understand that what the building is, but of course that is the part of their life.
No, thank you very much for your inputs. And with the permission of the distinguished panel, and more not as a designer perspective, more from a user perspective, I feel you must look at our building where my office is in Mumbai and BK. No, let me complete. So this is called Fortune Building. We are nestled beautifully, and yet we thrive on that place. It gives you every aspect to give the inhabitants a very good life, a very good work life, as Parthaji said. So that's fortune, but that's not from the eyes of an architect, but more from the user perspective. Over to you.
Yeah, one small question, as already time is over and the alarm is alarming. This question is very to all the panelists, and even anybody want to answer from the audience even. The question is this: ki, of course, you have your all the projects are architect, then there's a client. So architect is always planning, and architect is all in a way he tried to form the way where there will be the smooth execution. But the client is fluctuating client, like his decisions fluctuate, his requirement fluctuates, and his economic fluctuates. So in that case, how you handle the aesthetics versus economics? From Abhishek.
For a client, you're saying the client,
See,
when
the client,
he or she changes their
client
mind.
is fluctuating mind. He's like every client, or maybe in any of the projects, the client is fluctuating. We have come across that kind of client in few projects. So in that scenario, how you handle
See, first of all,
both the things? It is supposed to be balanced delivery, like aesthetics versus economics.
First of all, I must give credit to Kamal himself, because regarding handling client, he has been a good mentor to me. How to handle a client. He should
So
write a
whatever
book about that.
whatever I taught you, you please
but I
deliver it
must
back to me again.
But I must say that I have been a good student of yours, and of late I have changed my approach to the client. I have become more like a friend to a client, where I kind of dictate my terms. I charge exorbitantly high fees, whether the project is low cost or not, and exorbitant to my standard. So I am good with this kind of denim and all. So exorbitant to my standard. But still, what I find that more you charge your client, they start poking you with lesser number of small issues. One. Second is they start respecting your opinion if you be less available to them, unlike what we used to do earlier. Every call I used to pick and everything. Now, in order to reach me, the client has to go through 2-3 barriers. So the time, yeah, sorry?
Very strategic.
Yeah, very strategic, because what happens is now when she or he gets to talk to me, they feel like, okay, it's a privilege. So they will be brief. They will be preparing for the thing.
I taught you for this.
Yes, you taught me. You taught me that. You taught me. I'm giving most of the credit to you. Some I improvise, but most of the inspiration is from you. Thirdly, if you are more concerned, because there is a fantastic quote by Theodore Roosevelt who said, people do not care about how much you know until they care how much you care. Sorry, until they know how much you care. So that quote basically stuck with me. And I really from inside, I started caring about the project. I started caring more than the client himself care about the project. So it's not the architectural problem that we solve. We solve the problem they initially come up with to initiate the project itself. Suppose somebody is doing a bar or a pub. So if my design can help him get more revenue and more footfall onto the bar, and if I give him the strategies and the things within the budget, he will never leave you. Your fees become immaterial in that case. So that kind of things goes on. When you care more about the project, rest of the things will start falling into place.
So revenue is the key factor for your design. So, Rupande, this is more often in your case, because the fluctuating client means many times the husband is agreed, the wife is not agreed, then the other family members is not agreeing. So fluctuation comes from that. How you handle that? Delivery, which is aesthetically correct as you thought of, and the economically done nicely.
So yeah, my forte has been residentials, and I do a lot more residentials as compared to other stuff. But we do architecture and interior also. And this general fight between the men and the women is quite normal, to that extent that I've been told post the project that, look, we don't fight so much all the time. But I think, as Abhishek said, I also believe in that I'm very passionate about my work. And a lot of colleagues who are who I work with over here can vouch for it. So for me, it is every project is a special baby, and I just learned to trust my instinct and my gut as to how to balance it, not compromising on the aesthetics, but not letting the client pay more than what it is required. Sometimes um, we do overspend because the project deserves it or because the project demands it, both ways. Certain choice of material is done because it is required. And with the fluctuating thought processes, it's normal. It's natural for anybody when you're doing a project over a few years, a year or 8 months or 10 months, there is going to be a difference of thought processes as they're growing and maturing with the project. But I feel it's because we are grounded as a design team, as a design studio, we are grounded that we can maneuver the clients and we can help them to balance what is required at each point.
Mala, I would like to change the question for you. So in your case, institutional buildings, there are more the stakeholders are there and they have different mindset and you have to deliver one project. For example, 4 or 5 stakeholders are sitting in institutional projects is a normal case because there is no owner kind of people like they are the people who take the decision. So in that case, how you handle everyone's desire for the project, how you deliver the satisfaction for everyone.
Oh, then it becomes very easy, actually. If there are, when I understand that there is no one boss and there are 4-5 different people or stakeholders who have 4-5 different, like their ideas and their wishes are all different, then it becomes very easy. I design what I want. And I just convince all of them. And getting the change, I was just thinking about the changes. I think everyone has gone, architects, we go through this disaster or menace of change. We had projects which were started by one company, then it was taken, the entire company, like CMC, it used to be an IT company. It was, half the building was built and then it was, the company was taken over by TCS. So it became a TCS project. And by the time project ended, TCS had handed over that project to another subsidiary company called ION. So each time the entire design requirements, everything changes. So we just
You are used to handling many stakeholders.
like one particular project I really need to mention. So this project is a government project. It started in 2016, end of 2016. We are in 2023. Only the structure is made, and all the government officials that were involved in this has changed twice. So there is nobody in the project who knows what the project was originally there for, except for one, some peon kind of person who knows, not peon, I mean, like a low-end manager who is there, but everybody, the minister has changed, the executive engineers have changed, the sub-assistant engineers have changed. So I have changed the project. So what it started, now I have made it into a museum of Bengali cinema because nobody knew what it was going through.
Great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to wrap up now.
One very important question to JP Agarwal.
We have to keep it
normally-
very precise. I'm so sorry.
Very small,
Very precise,
very
yeah.
important question. I want to understand from him.
We're running out of time, actually.
Yeah, I know. We have given 10 minutes to the next gen session. So when the real estate market is going up, there is no question. There is all rosy kind of thing for everyone. Builder is interested, builder is happy, and the architect is doing what he is not interested. Like then also he's doing more thing. When the real estate market, like in 2008, real estate market was towards the downside, and aesthetics you're supposed to keep, and the economics was not supporting even to the builder. How you handle that situation?
I think you do follow the budget and the situation. Very simple. The problem with us is that, I tell you, in the world of this 3D visualization nowadays, the animation, we present something to the client, which is, is not going to be the reality without spending much of money. So, the problem lies with the architects, rather we architects, than the economy or a developer. If at all we are aware about whatever we are presenting to the client from the day one, that what it can sustain and how it can be made viable within the available economy, then there is no problem.
Great. Now you can take up.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so very much. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists? That was absolutely an outstanding, a brilliant conversation that we are debate that we just had. And now I guess we had all the questions we wanted to ask, or do we want to ask? No, maybe during the cocktails, you can ask one-to-one. All right, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's time to felicitate. And for that, I would like to call upon on stage Viresh Malhan, Chief of Sales, ICA, and Ramesh Periwal, Branch Head from Duro, to felicitate our esteemed panelists here. Could we please have a round of applause and welcome them on stage? Welcome, gentlemen. First, we have Abhishek Datta, Principal Architect, Arc On Design. Next, we have Devmalya Guhamala, Principal Architect and Managing Partner, Pace Consultant. Next, we have JP Agarwal, Director and Principal Architect, Agarwal and Agarwal. Next, we have Rupandesh Shah, Principal Architect, Rupandesh Shah and Associates. And finally, Sudeshna Mukhopadhyay, Strategic Consultant and Vice President, Havells Professional Lighting. For the photo opportunity, I would kindly request Indrajit Shauji and Vibhor Srivastav to kindly join us here on stage.
Well, give a hand to this lady, Dia. What a lovely girl she is. Kept us on. And listen, I won't hold you. The night is young. The bar is going to be open all through the night. We're not going to. But I just kind of vote of thanks to, it's not a part of this trick, but I got just a little excited to say that. I think it's been a great evening with talking to all of you. And I think we're going to put together a very nice coverage and everybody will get to read about this session. Thank you. Deepa, all yours. Sorry, Dia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so very much. And that's a wrap for Design Debate Kolkata edition. What a joy it was. And you have been absolutely wonderful audience. And I thank every one of you for your patience. From me and the entire team at ITP Media, I would like to thank our sponsors, presenting partner, Havells, powered by partner, ICA, associate partner, Jindal Panther, exhibit partners, Duro. Thank you all for your support. Thank you so very much. And of course, I would like to thank our esteemed guest and our fantastic curator and all the panelists for taking the time out for making this evening a phenomenal success. Thank you so very much, everyone. It was truly a joy to be able to pick all of your brains. Kolkata, you have been absolutely lovely. Hope to see you all again. And this is Dia Das signing off, and dinner and cocktails are served. Thank you so very much, everyone. Have a great evening.